Hey rebels, welcome back to my channel. My name is Basma Masuka and you guys are watching RWS, which is Random Shades, and I, Mua, am Shades the Rebel. This is the channel where we learn, create, and sew. And of course, I give you content you didn't ask for because it is always going to be random, I think. So let's get into the video. So in today's video, we're going to continue with the Jaquemus dress inspired skirt. So it's a skirt that is inspired by the Jaquemus dress, and I'm so excited that we're finally going to get to sew it. So I did speak about a little bit on plagiarism, and basically plagiarism is literally taking someone's design exactly as it is and making it your own, and that is what we're not doing. We're avoiding that, but we are taking inspiration. So we took inspiration from the dress, and now we're going to be making a skirt out of the inspiration and elements we took from the dress. Nothing is ever really new, but if you do copy someone else's design exactly to the T, then there could be consequences. So I hope you guys understand that nothing is new under the sun, nothing is new in fashion. You can't say you came up with the skirt because the skirt already exists. So yeah, another thing that I must mention is that what we have been doing currently is we have been focusing on patterns and how to draft patterns, how to make patterns, how to grade patterns, and I've also showed you guys how to make a skirt. So I hope you guys can take from what we have been doing and apply it to your knowledge. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to sew the skirt, but I'm going to show you guys the step-by-step process, although I won't be showing you how to sew. So if you're here to learn how to sew, this is not the time. We will get to a point where I start teaching you guys how to sew properly, but for now we're focusing on patterns. And once you have a basic understanding and a proper understanding of how patterns work and how patterns function, then I know for sure that you will be able to apply that knowledge when it comes to sewing. So I hope you guys understand that. And yeah, so guys, this is what we have. This is our pattern. This is the full pattern. This is the full scale. That's the back, and then this is the front, and it's all cut on fold. And as you can see, this color is not cream. No, it is not, but it is our lining. Our cream is just underneath the fabric. It's right here. I used the same pattern to cut it, and yeah, you could do this as well, so that's also fine. And then I also have these rectangles that are for the frill that's going to go at the bottom. And like I said, that the fabric that I have is quite see-through. As you can see, you can kind of see like my silhouette. And I'm still contemplating whether or not I will need lining for this. I do have lining, but we will see after like I've gathered everything. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to overlock the top part and the bottom part of these rectangle shapes. Okay guys, so we have overlocked the frill part of the fabric. So here's the overlocking. I overlocked both sides, the bottom as well as the top. So we also have our zip right here, so we're going to add it at the back of our skirt because our skirt does have a center seam at the back of the skirt. And yeah, so this is our skirt, and remember that it is lined. So I'm going to be showing you guys how to sew everything. First we're going to start with the dots. Right here, this is the back, and on my technical drawing I only have one dot. So usually on a block you have two dots, which I've shown over here. So these are the two dots. And what I did was just move them to this one area with single area, and basically these two sides are equal to either dot. So I hope that makes sense, and I hope you guys can understand that. And obviously if you don't understand, please do go check out my patterns video. I show you how to make the front pattern, and then I show you how to make the back, which is not very different, but it is important that you go watch so that you understand everything. So yeah, so what I am going to do is I am going to start with our dots. So the very important thing about our dots is, as you can see here, I haven't marked anything. What I'm going to do is just mark my notches. So my notches is going to be this part, and these are the parts that I'm going to join like that. So to mark that, I'm just going to make a snip, and I'm just doing that. So if you're wondering why there's some fabric overlapping over my pattern, it's because I didn't put any seam allowance. This is the original block. I didn't put any seam allowance. All I did was add some paper onto my block, as you can see over here, to get that arc at the bottom. This is some fabric, sorry, and that's it. So this is the full one. It's done obviously the same as the quarter block. It's just that I took some shortcuts, but we will speak about those. So what you want to do, now that we've already had put in our slits like that, is you want to mark that point and you just put in a pin just like that, and just make sure everything is nice and flat and smooth. I like to put my hand at the back, and once I feel the pin on my hand, on the other hand, then I know that it's in. It's a bit of a dangerous way of doing it, but I know that it's in. So there's our pin right there, and what we do is you just pull out the paper and the pin is going to stay on the fabric, right? And then all I do is just make sure that it's nicely secured and I don't forget. And obviously where the pin started is where the point is, so you don't have to forget. So the pin is right here, and this is where the point of the dot is. So now I'm going to take out all my pattern pieces and I'm going to mark it with pins everywhere. So guys, we have our two skirt pieces right here, just like that and that, and this is for the left, this is for the right. Hope you guys can see everything. And these are our notches. This is the point, the same on the other side. And what you're going to do is, this is the top side of the skirt, as you can see, and you're going to join these two together like that. And because this fabric creases very easily, it's very easy to actually just press it down with your finger without having to use an ironing board. So while I do that, I like to just pull out my pin like that on the other side while I join these two like that. I pull that just a little bit more so that I can get my point more defined, and I just press. So now it's nicely pressed and there's a crease there. So if you do have a different fabric that probably doesn't crease as much as this one does, all you have to do is just iron like that. And I like to keep my pin right there until the very end. And now all you have to do is make sure that you sew a line going straight from there to over there. How is that going to be possible? What you're going to do, this is a white fabric, you don't want to make it dirty. So what I do usually is I use this chalk. It's white, this is cream, but I can see like the chalk dust on the fabric, so that's what I do. I just draw on like that. I don't know if you guys will be able to see, but I just make sure that I can see the chalk dust, because it's going to be easier to dust off or wash off, and I can see my line. But if you don't have chalk, what you can do is use pins. So how you use pins is, I prefer you to use these ones with the balls, the ball head. And what you do is you basically pin on along the line like that, okay, and you just follow the line. You don't have to have a lot, because you pretty much draw an imaginary line. When you look at the pins, you just draw an imaginary line in your head joining the pins. And then I also like to pin in. This one usually goes the different direction because of how pointed the top of the dot is. So I would usually do that. And so when you sew, you're going to start there, sew, stop there, take out your pin slowly, and you continue sewing, and you move your pin along and sew just like that until the end. So that's what you would do, and I'm going to show you guys how I would do it with the pins. So next, what you're going to do is you're going to sew this. Okay, so I am giving you guys a top view, and I want you guys to see clearly what I'm going to be doing. So as you can see, I'm going to put my foot down there, and I'm just going to pin out my pin just slowly like that, and I'm going to start. That's about 2 stitches and a back stitch. And this is because usually you don't sew from the very edge of the fabric. That's impossible. So you start slightly in, okay, and then pull out. And as you can see, I'm pulling out, and I'm just making sure that this pin is like still connected to that pin. I'm creating that imaginary line, and as I come closer, I move my pin and I put my cloth this way, and when I get closer, I do the same thing. You cannot sew over a pin, guys. That you cannot do, because you will ruin your pin. So obviously that pin would still stay there, and from here really usually I just go with my gut and there. And what you want to make sure is that when you're sewing the dots here at the end, as you can see, I already did my back stitch, but I have like a 3 mil space before I hit the fold there. So now I'm gonna go back and hit the fold and have it nice and smooth, and I'm gonna go back again. And usually here you get like a bit of a tough time, but so yeah, so that's how we do it. This is our dot, nicely sewed. So guys, we are done with our dot. So I've just sewn the front piece. So the front piece has 1 piece and it has these 2 dots that I haven't ironed yet. I did iron the other ones. This is the outer layer. The fabric that I just showed you, this one, the brown one, is the lining, and then the backs are right here, as well as the back lining. I also did iron, so I'm going to show you how to iron them. And we iron them, we iron our dots facing the seam sides, like the seams, or facing on the outside, but I'll show you that. So let me show you. So here is our space, working space. As you can see on this one, I've already ironed it and it is facing the outside. This is how a dot looks like. So as you can see here, you can kind of see like a fold. Let me just show you. So there's kind of a fold here. That is not what we want, but that is a mistake. And this fabric is very fragile, so I'm not going to go in and undo it because it will leave holes. But this is what you want. You want a nice smooth finish. There's no pleat there. It's nothing, like invisible. So that's what you want. And when you look at it on the back or the inside of it, this is how it looks. The dots are facing the outside. So I'm going to show you how to iron it, just like that. So this is our front piece for our lining, and the dots aren't facing anywhere, as you can see. And all I do is take my iron, make sure it's nice and hot, and I like to leave it on the steam and just press it like that, as you can see. And the same thing on the other side. Okay, I'm going to show you what it looks like in front. Nice and clean on this side, and the other side not so nice and clean, but we can always just iron it out and it doesn't look as bad. Just make sure that there is no pleat, that this is really a good pleat. So yeah,